Today, we're talking about self-esteem, self-abandonment, and self-love. We're back with Soul Session episode 2. And we're here with, Dr. Nancy DeAndrade.
Thank you.
And I am Lorelei Bayette from Holistic Go-Getter TV. And today, we're talking about self-esteem, self-abandonment, and self-love. I mean, when do we get around our girlfriends to really talk about this stuff? I mean, we talk about it a little bit, but it's more like, you know what, girl? You need to do this and do that.
Yeah.
But today, we're gonna go a little deep. And
none of that, like, get over it, let's go party, let's do this. Digging in, that's what we're doing.
Oh my God. So,
emotions is something that you should not be afraid of. But what happens is in society, they tell you like, you're too much to handle, like your emotions are too much. You know what, the truth is, they are too much. So you don't go around expressing your emotions to everything and everyone at work or anywhere you are. You make it a sacred experience for you. This is sacred. Your emotions tell you so much. They talk to you about where you are out of alignment.
Yeah. So I did my first ceremony as suggested by her. I lit candles and I got in a very relaxed state. And I was like, all right, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's see what happens. So I tried to go there, like by playing sad music, because I really have this really incredible ability, like most of us, to survive. And out of that ability to survive and to feel good about myself, I have defense mechanisms. So I don't allow myself to feel certain things, and I convince myself that things are okay. And I didn't really realize just how deep it was until I had a session with Nancy, and I came to the realization that when my mother left when I was around 4 years old, and I didn't meet her again till I was 22, in that moment I smiled. And in that moment, I made the decision that everything was going to be okay. And then I got transferred to another home, and another home, and another home, and in every moment I said, I'm okay. But what I was really doing was abandoning myself. Each and every time I abandoned myself and my emotions and said, your emotions don't matter. And so that led me on a trail of being with people. If you ever find yourself in a relationship with somebody and you're abandoning your needs to go for them and thinking about what they feel and how they're doing all the time, all while abandoning what do I feel, what do I want, what do I need, then it may be time to marry yourself. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is a lot of we're done with it, we're sick of it, we're not abandoning ourselves anymore. So I created that space that we were talking about in the last episode of really digging into my emotions. And I think Nancy explains it well, the process of digging in and letting go.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that I've seen in many women is that they survive and they shut down. And because they're not acknowledging their emotions, then they explode. It's sort of like suppress, and one little trigger, one little drink, one little something, you blow out. And the reason for this is because they don't honor their emotions. They don't honor their emotions because the messages that they've heard is like, suck it up. You're too much to handle. You're too sensitive. You cry too much. La 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 la. So many messages that women are told that said having emotions is not okay. But they come out. You don't have a choice. Now, what Lorelei experienced was an amazing, beautiful time with herself where she gave herself permission to feel deeply, and without judgment, without like, okay, hurry up, we gotta go, but like, no, this is a time for me. I'm gonna be with me, relaxed with me, and I'm gonna connect with these emotions that I'm feeling deeply inside. When you are able to acknowledge your own emotions, you don't have to explode around people. You don't have to act out on those emotions. You don't have to put all that burden into your spouse to take care of your emotions. You are taking care of you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why this type of women that are like sometimes go-getters, they're business women that are competing in this world, are stuffing their emotions up, and they're not really valuing the feminine aspect that they have. A little bit what we talked in session 1, how to honor that gift that we have as feminine goddesses that we are.
Yeah, and I think it's really important what she said about non-judgment, because we quickly snap into criticizing and judging ourselves. Like, why are you self-pitying? Why are you feeling this way? You know, instead of just feeling it. And when I sat there, I was like, okay, I'm feeling guilt. That's interesting. Why am I feeling guilt? Instead of being like, why are you feeling guilty? Shoulding all over the place. You shouldn't feel guilt. I was like, why do I feel guilt? And then when I started asking those provocative questions, I got some very insightful answers and what you realize is it's not even the man, it's not even the friend, it's not the coworker, it's not the family member. It's you and your triggers and what you're going through. And so through this journey of all these soul sessions, I want us to be empowered and so full of love that we only attract those that mirror what we have inside of us. So this is a process of letting go and filling ourselves up. And I am one person who has become much more calm. Before I would be very irritable. So that's a sign. Irritation. Agitation, road rage, displacement, putting I don't like my kids right now. You love your kids. Ding. Overeating, overindulging, sex, going out, escaping, on social media too much. All of those things are an indication that you are running away or suppressing your emotions. And the more you honor them, this is the epiphany I had, and it sounds so simple, but wow, you mean
So what Lorelai did was so beautiful because she took time to be with herself and journal and go to that place where she said, what is this that I'm feeling? If she had suppressed it, she would have been blaming everybody. And you guys do it all the time, like, he doesn't help me, or my boss doesn't appreciate me, or whatever, the world, it's out to get me. And we don't do it on purpose. It's just that it's this unexplored emotion that we are too afraid to tap into, because sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. Sometimes we need someone to hold the space for us so we can explore deeply and cry our eyes out, throw a pillow, scream at a pillow, whatever it is, journal, so we can get to the root of it. So the root sometimes starts with, it's kind of like a tree. You see the branches and they're rotting. You cut the branches, but still the tree's rotting. You have to get to the root of things. So when you get there, you might feel, like you were saying, guilt or shame or things like that. And you go deeper and deeper and deeper until you find out what's really the issue. So sometimes for people is abandonment, feeling like the other person is not there for them and is constantly dismissing them. But so many times, like you mentioned earlier, we abandon ourselves. We abandon ourselves when we don't acknowledge our emotions, when we put ourselves last, when we say to ourselves, it doesn't matter what I want, somebody else is first. Or we don't acknowledge the depth of our emotions. So many ways that we abandon ourselves, besides all of the ways of coping that you mentioned earlier, like dismissing or trying not to deal with ourselves because we're too much. So the important thing is that you're not doing this by yourself if you feel overwhelmed by your emotions. If this is something that you feel like, okay, I could explore this on my own, journal about it, ground yourself, make yourself in an environment that is not necessarily with substances, or that you're not going to hurt yourself, but in a way that is loving to you, and say, here are my emotions. I love both parts of me, the good and the bad, the light and the shadow. I love all of it completely, by being present with you and your emotions.
Yeah, and that's spot on, because I was like, you know what? I decided to marry myself. That's the person you need to marry first. You need to totally accept yourself. And I know you hear it all the time, but until then, you will unconsciously put your acceptance and your validation and your self-worth in the hands of another human being. And as long as you're doing that, you're putting something in someone's hands that's not for them. And they're not gonna handle it with care. They're not even actually aware that you put it on them. It's like you latched it onto them and they're like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. So when I made a decision to not abandon myself, it's the most courageous thing I think I've done, because to actually sit there and feel those feelings sucks. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It does. And to not dismiss myself and not make excuses sucks. Because it's easy for me to flip my hair, get to work, you know, try to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and this. But no, what that's going to do is, and listen up, is it's going to perpetuate the same cycle in your life. You're gonna attract the same jobs, the same friends, the same men in different forms. And so if I don't want my life to turn out that way, then I have to make the changes necessary. So I'm going to stay down right now, and I'm going to marry myself, and I'm gonna tell myself, every time I look at this ring, I'm gonna tell myself, you know what? I'm not gonna leave you this time. This time I'm not leaving your side. This time I'm gonna think about what your needs are. I didn't realize how often we as women say, oh, he must have felt this way, and he must be going through this, and we excuse things and we explain. What about you, love? What about what you need in your life? Is he loving you and caring for you the way that you need? You know, is this job worth your time? This is all a matter of self-worth. How much you get paid is self-love and self-worth. Who you attract in your life is self-love and self-worth. So we're gonna make this commitment all together, with whether you're in a relationship or not. We're gonna commit to ourselves.
And when Lorelai talks about manifesting and creating and attracting the people that you want in your life, I'm gonna give you an example. I met this gentleman who felt like he was a victim of society, and we were working in a group, and all he felt and projected out was, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. He didn't say those words, of course, but when he was asked, give us something that you love, he was like, I don't know about love, I don't know if I can tell you something I hate, I can tell you the way people wrong me, I can tell you all the bad things that happened to me. And everybody really wanted to help, but he closed the doors on his own. He was like, no, you know, everybody's out to get me. Nobody wants to really help me. I don't know, you know, you have ill intentions. I don't know if I can trust you. He himself closed the doors. Why? Because of the way he felt about himself. And so when you start shifting that feeling, the worth, the self-worth that you have, then you start attracting actually people that want to help, people that want to love you. Not only you attract it, but you welcome it and you accept it. Very, very different. This gentleman was surrounded by people that wanted to help, but he couldn't see them. He couldn't see anything at all.
Because with every process of letting go, filling up, letting go, filling up, you start to raise your vibration. And you only see, so all the people that were helping him were vibrating here, but because he was vibrating here, you can't see at the different vibrational ranges. And it could be a little confusing, like you said.
Like the way I see it is, imagine that you are in a building and you're in the basement. The basement has no windows and everybody's like bumping into each other because they can't see where they're going, and nobody believes that there's a way out. Somebody's like, nope, I'm gonna keep bumping myself, I'm gonna keep hurting until I find the stairs up. And somebody finds the stairs up, and says, wait a minute, what is this? And gets blinded by the next level. So imagine the lower level, the basement, is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that there's a better life. You've been hurt and that's all you know, and you see other people that have been hurt, and you hang out with other people that have been hurt, and you don't know that there's a way out. But something calls you, something tells you there must be a way. There must be a way. Yes, I'm gonna go through my feelings. Yes, it hurts, but I'm gonna go through this because the way out is through. So you get to the next level, and there's a few windows, and the light is bright, and it's this newness, like this new information. What is this? What? People can be happy? You might be tempted to go down to the basement because that's all you know. You might be tempted to go to old patterns because that's all you know, to self-punishment, to go, eat a bunch of ice cream or whatever it is that you do to go back to the basement, to the darkness. But it takes a lot of courage to stay up here and get to know other people that are in this level. But you don't stop there. You keep growing, you keep going to the next level, and the next level you meet other people that are enlightened, more windows, and then you get to the rooftop where everybody's having a party up there. Why would you go to the basement? Not really. You wouldn't go to the basement. What you would do is shine your light so bright so people in the basement can see a light and can get out. That's the way you work on yourself. You don't go and save everybody by going yourself to the darkness, to the basement. You go up and you shine your light very bright. But with every step, it's growth. Every step you learn more. In every level that you go to, you meet different people. Different people that say, I know there's a rooftop. We should go. Some people down here like, I don't know, it's 5 steps, 5 stories. I don't know if I want to go up there. You keep going, babe. Go up, keep going, and you'll find people that say, hey, do you want to come? Do you want to come along? And some people say, no, I want to stay here, but you keep going. And that's partners, that's jobs, that's everything. You keep growing. They might want to stay here in this level, but you keep growing. That's the commitment that you have for you, for yourself.
I think that's something that I can't believe after, due to all the work, so I had a relationship for 5 years, and that was so hard to let go of because I was in the basement. I was in old patterns. I was in the dark, but it got taken away from me. And usually that looks like your whole life falling apart, is when life is like, hey, wake up, your light. I feel your light coming out.
Yes.
And then in my last relationship, I was really amazed at the amount of grace and my ability to let it go because of my knowledge and the work that I've done that told me, you know what? The universe knows. Trust it, surrender, let go. Let go, just let go. Don't force it. I could have forced it. We could have been together, you know what I mean? And like she said, there's courage in going to the next level because there's partners, jobs, friends, family members that might fall by the wayside.
And I'm not suggesting that if you have a problem with your spouse or friend or whatever, or your job, that you quit immediately, whatever, I'm going to the next level. That's not what I'm talking about. If somebody comes into your life at this level, they're there to teach you something. And so what do? You can drop them, but guess what? You're gonna find somebody else. This is what she was talking about earlier, what you were talking about. You're gonna keep meeting people until you get to that lesson, that part that says, okay, I'm here with you. What do I need to learn? What do I need to learn from this job so I can get to the next level? So I can get to the next floor.
Yeah, and the partner you're with is the perfect partner for you because they serve as a mirror. We had a little bit of technical difficulties.
So when you look at your partner, what you're seeing is a mirror of everything, which is what Lorelai was talking about. Someone who is going to reflect for you everything that you need to work on. So you can blame them for not paying attention to you, not calling you, not being on time, not blah, 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 whatever it is. But if you look at all of the things that bother you, are you doing that to yourself? Are you not being on time with yourself? Are you not keeping your word with yourself? Are you not spending time with yourself? Are you not believing in yourself, taking care of you, etc., etc.? So they are a reflection. If you don't work on that, guess what's gonna happen? You are going to hire somebody else to show you that, and it could be your partner, it could be your boss, it could be your child, it could be anybody, your friend. And the beginning we talked about how your emotions can give you information. That's how. When you get irritated, like, oh, I can't believe da da da, you sit with it. You don't dismiss it. You don't suppress it. You're like, no, I'm fine. Sure, whatever, I'm fine. You don't suppress that. You write it down. Like, why am I irritated? You ask yourself, Nancy, what are you feeling? You sit with you, you marry you, you take care of you, you nurture you, and you ask yourself, what's going on? I'm feeling upset. Why am I feeling? Because he's doing this and this and that. Okay, but why does it upset me? And then you get to the root of it. How am I doing this to myself? In what ways am I not taking care of me? In what ways am I putting all the burden on everybody else to take care of me versus me doing it for myself? And that's growth. That takes you to the next level. That takes you to that place where everybody takes care of themselves. You're gonna see very soon, as you work on yourself, you're gonna start being around people who are taking care of themselves. You're gonna stop hearing gossip and complaints. You're gonna get to that next level where it's like, how can we help the world? Kind of like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Your basic needs are fulfilled, your need for connection and all of that, until you get to the point of self-fulfillment and how do I help other people.
Yeah, definitely. And I like to call it criticize and complexion. So when you look in the mirror, you see your complexion. So every time I criticize like my family member, and I'm like, oh, complexion, that's me. Mm-hmm. Every single time, only 100% of the time when you criticize someone, can you find truth that same thing applies to you. And even with their greatness, when you see someone's greatness,
yes,
those are things that you embody as well. So you're like, wow, they're so this. If you didn't embody it, you wouldn't be able to recognize it.
Yeah.
So when you're running around, and so the first part is complain and complexion, using other people, making other people your guru, because it needs to be resolved, period. Otherwise, you will not be able to move on to something better. And also self-care. And that is doing things that make you happy. Self-care is also going into your emotions and not abandoning yourself, not letting yourself down. But so here's something that I actually wanted us all to do, and we're gonna do this too. We're all gonna write a letter, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna take a pen and paper, and we're gonna write down, how would I want the perfect partner to treat me? What are all the things I want from the perfect partner? Like the love of my life, the most magical love I could ever have. How would I want to be treated? What would I want to do? And then you're going to give those things to yourself. So you're going to put yourself in the frame of mind of, this is the person I want to be with. And you're going to write it like you're writing about your husband. Or maybe you don't even want to talk about that. Maybe you want to talk about, the perfect sister, or the perfect mom, or the perfect boss, or whatever it is that's a trigger in your life. And you're write down like, okay, what would I want from the perfect this or that? Insert here. And then as soon as you're done with that letter, you're gonna figure out and you're gonna look at it and see how you can give those things yourself. Because like she said, the world is a mirror reflection of our internal environment. So if we can change what's going on inside of here, then we can change what goes on outside of here. So you won't keep attracting the same bullshit. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Yes. And so what she's talking about is building your self-esteem. That's how you do it. How do you know what you want? Is by acknowledging your emotions. How do you know how to take care of yourself? Is by looking in the mirror all around. By acknowledging, I need that. I need acknowledgement. And I need praise. And I need to feel good. I need to feel important. I need to feel appreciated. Who's going to give you that? You. Yourself.
Yes.
Give that to yourself. So self-esteem, and we'll talk about a little I'm not sure, in the next soul session maybe, or I don't know. We can touch upon it right now, but self-esteem is how much you appreciate yourself. Not because somebody else appreciates you, but can you stand tall despite all the haters?
Yeah.
That's hard, let me tell you. Really, really hard. Because we're not living in a cave. We're living around society, and it's important what other people think of us. We're not gonna go around walking, hitting people just because we don't care. That's a sociopath doing that. We do need to care what other people feel and think. And that is not the problem. The problem is when you put them first. When you put other people's beliefs and desires before you. And that includes your children. When you are going on a plane, what do they say? You put your mask on first in case of an emergency, and then you put your child. Why? Because if you faint, who's gonna help the child? The same thing in real life. If you are miserable, if you're angry, if you're not eating well, if you're not taking care of yourself, what patience are you gonna have with your children? What patience are you gonna have with your loved ones? What patience are you gonna have, or even energy to work and be successful at what you do?
Yeah, this is all a process of letting go and filling up, letting go and filling up. And Iyanla Vanzant, she said that when you give someone what's for you, you make that person a thief. And she got that from the Course in Miracles. She was on Oprah and they were talking about how you have to, it's not selfish, it's self-full. You have to be so full. Everything within the cup is for you. You have to be so full that your cup runneth over, because everything outside of the cup is for everybody else. Because if you're right here and you're giving that away, you're automatically making that person a thief.
Yeah. And when you are in a partnership with someone, you are given to each other, not taken from each other. You're coming from plentiful, not from neediness. People hate needy people. And what is the characteristic of a needy person? Is someone who is empty, who's needing from somebody else. We don't want that. It's not
low value woman versus high value woman. And a holistic go-getter is a high value woman on a mission to succeed in mindset, spirit, and hustle. So this whole journey is to be high value at work, in your relationships, and everywhere. So I don't mean low value to make you feel bad about yourself and make myself feel bad about myself, but just recognizing what low value, low frequency behavior is versus high value, high frequency behavior is, so that you can make the choice to say, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. And it goes against your will, you know? Sometimes it's counterintuitive. You're like, he's pulling away from me, I should go. And so you're like, wait, but you know in your mind, okay, it's more high value for me to say, there's space here, he's fulfilling himself. Let me go fulfill myself, because I'm feeling neglected, I'm neglecting myself.
Yeah.
So let me go fill myself up by doing something and just strengthening that self-love, self-care muscle.
Yeah, and the fact that you're watching this soul series tells me that you are looking for something more to grow. You are someone who's already saying, how can I be a better person? How can I get better? I love that you are watching this, and I love that you're hungry for this information, because we are dying to give it to you and show you the way up. We're like getting up there, and we're like, hey everybody, come up, it's so much fun in here. And we want you up here, shining bright, lighting the world with your amazing light.
Yes. So this session, we talked about complaining or criticizing someone and holding that mirror up immediately. Okay? And there's a book by Byron Katie, Loving What Is. She goes into depth about that in particular. Making everyone your guru, making everyone your mirror, and falling in love with reality. And so complain, criticize, and complexion. Oh, I do that too. And then fixing that. When I can't tell you about yourself until I resolve that. And then once I resolve it, it actually doesn't exist in my world. And number 2 is self-care. Making a space for your emotions and letting go. Part of letting go is not judging your emotion, but acknowledging it, being curious about it. That's interesting. Why am I feeling that way? getting to know yourself. Wouldn't you want your partner to sit down and get to know you? Wouldn't you want your partner, when you're sad, to actually be there for you? You want to do those things for yourself. I want to get to know me. I want to be there for me. How can I have you love me if I don't love me? How can you get to know me if I don't know myself, you know? So, and then also filling yourself up. So doing the self-care things and, you know, what makes you happy. Don't abandon yourself. When you get in a relationship, don't stop doing the things that you love to do. When you get a job, don't just be like, I'm busy, like it's a badge of honor. That is irresponsible to not nurture and take care of yourself. So this is what we basically talked about today. Do you think there was anything else?
Something I wanted to share was very often women tend to, you know, be individuals, and they go out with friends and they work really hard at their jobs and they do the things that they love. They go to movies or whatever it is. They hang out. They find a partner, and then they forget their role as individuals, their hat as individuals, and they become partners. And they put their hat as partners, and everything is done as partners. Everywhere they go is with partner, and they can't breathe unless they are with the partner. And the individual, where they go? Sometimes they have children, and guess what? They become parents, and that's all they are. They're parents. They forget their partners, they forget the individual, they forget everything, and they become that. And so I want you to, if you're in any of this, I don't want you to forget any of those hats, because it's important. If you are with a partner, that you take care of yourself, that you nurture your friendships, that you do the things that you love. If you have children, you nurture also your individuality and you nurture your partner, not just your children. And you nurture your children, you nurture all of them, and that's a balance you. When you have love all around, don't forget you. That's the most important thing. Don't forget you. You come first.
Yeah, and that's something that I definitely had to learn. And then if I wouldn't have had those experiences, I didn't mess any experience up. And that's what I wanted to really tell you guys and to tell myself today, is that don't guilt yourself and say, oh my God, I messed up and I could have did this and I could have did that. But it's because of those circumstances that you know these things now. It's because of those enlightening and sometimes devastating situations that you can now move forward in a high value way. And I wouldn't have got the privilege, the jewel that was hidden underneath. The deeper I go, the deeper I could see, the more I could see. So when I got to the fruit of it, I was like, wow, I did exactly what she said. I abandoned myself. And it just, when you have a component of your personality, it trickles into every facet of your life. So me abandoning myself and my emotions every time I was passed around, every time I was put in a different home and I didn't have my parents, when I was neglected by them and I chose to neglect myself, every time I did that without resolving it, I brought that into my adult life. And I never want to do that again. And I want all us young women who are building ourselves up, because our 20s are rough. We're trying to build a life, we're trying to find ourselves, we're trying to accept ourselves, and all these things is to, if you're watching this today, make that choice to not abandon yourself, make that choice to not guilt yourself and shame yourself, make that choice to be courageous and brave enough to look in the mirror and see yourself. Bad, good, light, dark, all of it.
Love it all. Another really good book that I would also recommend is Carolyn Myss, Sacred Contracts.
Oh, yes.
Really good book also.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And if you're on a spiritual journey, it's definitely about how we signed up to go through all this.
So I'd like to close with maybe an invitation for you guys to do the exercise that Lorelai said. Write down the exact relationship that you would like, and notice all the things that you are doing already and continue doing that, and all the things that you would like to continue to start doing to improve yourself. I'll invite you to also take time to be with you and your emotions. Sometimes it's hard. You can sit there and you're like, okay, cry, and it's not gonna come out. So then you write a letter to yourself. Then you go deep and you write a letter and you're like, dear Nancy, I'm so sorry I abandoned you. And you go into that emotion, go deep. But make sure that you are doing it in a safe environment, in a safe time, that you're not going to be interrupted, or you can be with someone that you trust, or even by yourself. But it's in a safe environment, and you start connecting with yourself. And the third suggestion that I have that I'd like to invite you is continue watching this series. This series are going to teach you so much. They're so invaluable. This lessons. This is coming from people that have lived this experience. People that have come from backgrounds you cannot imagine, and that are here standing with their inner strength, with their light shining at you, so you can come up and you can join us in that.
Yeah, and I'm going to actually insert in this video a picture of what it looks like when I'm doing my sacred ceremony. And I guess I should just hashtag self-love ceremony, and you can hashtag that self-love ceremony. Show me the environment that you create in your space. Show me you lighting candles, doing sage in your room, having your journal out. What does your sacred space look like when you're honoring yourself? That is so courageous. That is so beautiful.
If you want to share the letter too, we would love to see.
Oh my
who's
God.
your ideal.
Yes, please. I'm gonna put both of our information in the link in the bio. There's links in the bio and information in the bio to our social media accounts. Please write these letters, share them with us.
Yeah, I'd love to see them.
Yes. Oh my God. This is a synergy. This isn't us just telling you. This is a synergy.
Yeah.
This is a co-creation. You guys inspire me, and we inspire you. So to wrap up, like she said, once again, the letter, share it. And what does your space look like? Take a cute picture. Hashtag self-love ceremony. And we'll see you next time for Soul Session 3. With much love,
Yes.
This is Dr. DeAndretti and Lorelei Bayette. Bye.
That's awesome.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, baby.